oh hey, you want to go watch High School Musical 2? It's my favorite. Well, it's between that and Kangaroo Jack, because the Kangaroo Man, he's just so funny. He's got all that money. Alright guys, so this new one from A24, people are either going to love it or hate it, but I feel like I'm kind of in the middle. I don't absolutely adore it, but it's not a bad movie by any means, but I feel like some people will say it's a bad movie because they are the target of this movie in a way, so let's get into it. Now today I want to talk about a movie that I didn't know a whole lot about it going in. I knew it was directed by Alex Garland, who made Ex Machina, which if you haven't seen that, please do so as soon as possible. I just watched it a couple days ago, and it is phenomenal. Beautifully made, really thrilling story that keeps you on the edge of your toes and is honestly pretty scary if you're scared of robots like myself, but that's a whole nother story. And Alex's second movie was Annihilation, which if you haven't seen that one, I still recommend that one too. It's not as good as Ex Machina in my opinion, but still really good. The bear in that movie is really creepy looking, and I think it's a fun time, but Alex's newest movie just came out, and it is titled Men. Now, from the title alone, I was pretty curious about what was going on. The trailer kind of gives you some hints, but nowhere near what's actually about to happen, and it's a pretty crazy, surreal art piece, if I do say so myself. I mean, Alex's work is pretty surrealistic, and you have to kind of think and use your brain to kind of see what's going on throughout it, but if you don't, it's still an enjoyable art piece just from all the beautiful landscapes he gets and his framing alone. Like, I don't know who his cinematographer is, but some of that stuff looked very, very cool. I mean, it looked like some still photography that I would do myself and just in nature of all the stuff I do, and it was really beautiful to see mixed in with all this horrific thriller and honestly horrific imagery that I don't think I'll get out of my brain anytime soon, but that's a whole nother story, and I will not get into any spoilers other than that. So if you're going into this expecting a horror movie, it's a bit of a slow burn in the beginning, but it gets you there toward the end. The third act is absolute insanity. Now, the main beats to the story is that our main character, Harper, is dealing with a recent loss, and she just wants to get away and kind of forget about it all. But once she gets away to this town and she has this little estate to herself, she starts to realize that she can't forget about it. She's dealing with the grief, and it's really troubling her, and this town is not helping in any way because she found herself in the middle of a very crazy situation. Now, the title kind of speaks for itself in this way, but it's called Men, and it's commenting on men and their actions and toxic masculinity as a whole. And it's a very good message to put out there because even as a man myself, a lot of the actions of the men in this movie were very uncomforting, and I couldn't imagine talking to anyone this way, let alone a woman. So I feel like the people who really should see this movie and need to hear these messages probably will either not see it or will absolutely hate it. But I think it's a pretty brilliant way to kind of say these messages in a horror movie, and I think Alex Garland really is onto something really cool, and I can't wait to see what he does next, because like I said, Ex Machina, Annihilation, Men, all of his movies so far are above 4 out of 5 stars for me. Like, Men right here, I'll put my rating on the screen, 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this movie. It's not a perfect movie. There are some things that I probably would have trimmed down a little bit and maybe made things a little bit more simplistic because I'm guilty of it. I looked at some like ending explain things even though I feel like I got it for the most part, but that third act is pretty nuts. So if you want to go check out a good horror movie with a lot of crazy messages but also still stays true to that A24 style, like if you're a fan of A24, I feel like you're probably going to dig this because it is more cerebral and you kind of got to think about it, but at the same time, you actually can see a lot of what's going on, and although it is heady, it's also pretty visual, and as long as you think about it a little bit, I think you're going to understand most of it. And if this is pretty vague, comment your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to chat with you. I want to talk about this movie a little bit more, but I don't want to spoil it. And that's the hard part about reviewing this movie, because I don't want to talk about anything spoiler-wise, and maybe I'll talk about it later, because I have a show coming up that I'm going to be creating with one of my friends, and this is a little spoiler for that. So we're going to talk about movies on that show, and I will be talking about it as the date gets closer. So that is my little teaser, and that is the end of this video. Please like the video. Like I said, comment your thoughts on Alex Garland, Men themselves, Men the movie, and yeah, share the video with whoever you feel like would like to see it and think about going to see a movie this weekend. I could suggest Men. If you're a fan of horror and whatnot, go check it out and let me know what you think. And thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel and bye! Oh, no, don't go, please. Oh, you pick the movie.